awesome! You people bought a ticket to see me, so shut up!
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you live under a rock,
I might grab a bat, I don't know, my rap, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll put it on your face to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you gon' wish you was such a fuck up real bad. Shut up.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Heel of the Ring podcast. I am BX Sports Jedi Kev. I am with the MK. We'll bring him in a moment here. I just wanted to say welcome to the Heel of the Ring. It is WWE SmackDown edition and AEW Rampage review. Now, if you ain't down with us, we got 2 words for you. Just subscribe. Let me bring in my partner today's edition, the one and only MK. MK, what is up? Salute.
I'm doing great, man. It's a nice sunny day out on Saturday morning, so just good day to talk about some wrestling.
Absolutely. Let's start off with the WWE, the Blue Brand, SmackDown, as the WWE continue to march its way towards the SummerSlam event on the 30th from Nashville, and the company presents us an episode of SmackDown from my home city of Orlando, Florida. It is going to be hopefully an action-packed SmackDown that we could review here. We are going to see the champion, Liv Morgan, take on Natalya in singles competition in a champion qualifier match. We're going to see Street Profits, the Usos. We got so much situation theory takes on Madcap Moss. But first and foremost, the SmackDown event starts off with Michael Cole, who's been in Orlando all week. I saw him on NXT Live backstage. He was there. It starts off with Michael Cole in the ring, talking, getting it off, in-ring promo. None other to bring in his partner, who was out due to a little bit of attack, setting up a possible match in SummerSlam between Pat McAfee, Corbin, and of course the one and only Pat McAfee comes out to the crowd, warms us up. What do you think about them starting that way? Usually we see they start off with a match to get the heat and get the crowd injected and innovated. They started off with announcers doing a promo. That was kind of a little bit of curveball. What's your thoughts on that?
You know, I don't a show starting off with the promo isn't really that uncommon for me, at least, because they've done it so much. But as far as Pat McAfee starting the show, we don't really see that often, which was cool. It's a nice change of pace, and I thought the promo with Pat McAfee was very good. You can tell that this guy has a lot of leeway of the things he can say on TV, because he mentioned about the whole TV 14 thing, and I'm like, bro, this guy can just say anything and not get fired, you know what I mean? Because that's how valuable he is. I like the back and forth with him and Corbin. This is a nice match for SummerSlam. I'm looking forward to it. Pat had a great match at WrestleMania with Austin Theory, and Pat can make anything seem exciting. Corbin's a nice heel to work with. So, and I like the backstory too, with, you know, them being roommates in college and football and whatnot, and that's cool. That was awesome. So that was a really good opening segment for this match.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because you mentioned it perfectly. They gave us a backstory of them, you know, a little sneak peek behind the curtain. They were both teammates for the Indianapolis Colts in the NFL franchise, and I like that. You made it perfect. They gave us that little bit of a peek behind of why these guys possibly could be a rival, just because, you know, because then you're like, wait, what? Doesn't McAfee criticize everyone in WWE? So what's gonna happen every time a wrestler don't like him being criticized? They're going to go to the McAfee and beat him up? No, there's history behind them, and they're telling that story. I like that. I totally agree with you. Also, the TB14. A couple of douchebags and other comments. I think that wasn't PG, my friend. I think that was, 14. The TV rating 14. So they're already pushing the envelope there, as you say. Which, hey, the crowd in Orlando was behind that. They started the chant. I love the fact sometimes when the promo cutters hear certain things for certain crowd and they address it. And they, yeah, you're right, and I kind of like that, because it makes you feel as an audience participation. Now, hopefully they don't have to respond to every person that says something, but they nitpick, and I like that. With that, they're bringing us into and be an audience participation program. I like it. So then we have McAfee send it, and he now introduces the women's champion, Liv Morgan. Now, you haven't been on for a bit. I know work-related schedule. I just want to give you your pound of flesh on the Liv Morgan from Money in the Bank to where we stand now. Go for it.
You know what? It was a really cool moment for Liv. Liv Morgan has been someone that for the long time a lot of people have been really getting behind. By the way, can you lower down the background noise?
Yeah, got you.
Yeah, so thanks. So what I was gonna say was, Liv Morgan has slowly improved over time. She got the championship, and it was a cool moment for everybody. It's at least a fresh face for the Blue brand, because by God, they need new faces on that show. So it's been 2 weeks right now. It's so far so good. I think it's just one of those feel-good moments for everybody. I'm kind of indifferent when it comes to Liv. I don't hate her, but I'm not really a big fan of her either. She's just kind of there for me, right? She's improved, I can acknowledge that, but it's not enough for me to be like a fan of hers, as opposed to like all the other people on the show, right? But her being the champion, not a bad move at all. And, as far as the match is concerned with her and Natalya, it was kind of a rough match, especially towards the end, and speaking of someone that I really don't care at all, Natalya, oh boy, I may be indifferent when it comes to Liv Morgan, but I can at least acknowledge that her being champion is a good thing. But Natalya has been in the company for like 1,000 years and still hasn't gotten over it, which, I don't know. It's just weird. Match was okay up until the finish, and it got really it got a little bit choppy towards the end, but it is what it is. A crowd loved Liv, and that's how it was. So it is what it is. Yeah.
Liv Morgan, I think, well deserved as the women's SmackDown champion. I hope, and I mentioned it before. I know you have my. I'm gonna give you my take on Liv Morgan. I hope Liv Morgan goes on an AJ Lee type of run. Now, the reason why I say, because no one expected, when AJ Lee won the title the first time, no one expected her to have sustained run and the reign that she has, and you could possibly say maybe top 5 WWE Women's Champion in her reign. And I'm not saying, Liv Morgan, yes, she has to get a little more seasoned, or give us a little more wrestling move ability, but right now Liv Morgan's over with the crowd, super. Everywhere she goes, the crowd gravitates to her. Secondly, merchandise. She is selling out merchandise left and right, yin yang. They cannot keep it on the house shows and online. She's selling merchandise. That's another thing. She's making money. That's what something, benefits her as a title run to keep this. Thirdly, I think Liv Morgan, she's gonna be that underdog persona as she continues to win and define that story angle. I kind of like it. I think WWE is seeing that, and they're pushing it because, of course, We get Natalya come out, the Queen of Hearts. She dominated that champion in that match completely, you know, putting her on her back foot. However, Morgan kept fighting back. That's what the storyline is. She's going to be a champion. It's going to be, no matter what, she's going to keep fighting back. On paper, she looked like the odds is against her, and she's going to be in a dominant run, similar a little bit like Alexa Bliss, but a different form. You know, you saw her overcoming some late German suplex, a sit-down powerbomb from Natalya, hitting her, and then you see her hitting her with a finishing move, the Oblivion, to pick up the pinfall. Yes, the match was clunky at spots. Liv made a little bit, one botch. I was like, ugh, Liv, you're the champ. You can't have these kind of botches. As much as I kill AEW about their botches, there was two botches here in this women's title match that hopefully they clean it up. But I do like the fact when Natalya hits the champion outside the ropes, outside the ring on the post. All in all, the crowd enjoyed it, and that's what we wanted. Now, I want to ask you this here. After the match, you have an interview in the ring, and even Kayla says, your match, you were dominated. You didn't look so great. And even to the Liv Morgan was even surprised on her. Just her reaction was really genuine. It seemed when even Kayla kind of like poo-pooed that match. What's your thoughts on that one?
You know, this is where storytelling comes in, and this is where I feel like this is where in some cases WWE excels in when it comes to storytelling. Liv Morgan, her character she's an underdog, right? So you gotta book her in situations where she's, you know, always fighting underneath, right? She's always finding a way to actually overcome the odds. And so when they told her, like, hey, you didn't look that dominant as opposed to what Ronda Rousey is, well, of course she is, because that's not who Liv Morgan is, right? And she said, well, of course I didn't. But but much like with Ronda, I won the match, and I, you know, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fight, and I'm gonna fight, and until I get that W, right? And you know, when you mentioned about earlier that Liv Morgan should have like an AJ Lee title run, I think that I wouldn't go that far, because at least when she had the title, she was a heel, and she also did had a heater with her with Tamina at the time, where she can actually have a long title reign, and she could be protected in that sense. I actually think Liv Morgan in some ways in a lot of ways could benefit from having a shorter title run and chasing, because a long-term underdog champion really doesn't work too well. Like, I think for her, she should hold it for at least a couple months and then loses it, and then she's like, all right, now it's time for me to get back in the game and work my way up. Underdogs are not meant to win all the time, which I feel like sometimes fans, they think, oh yeah, once you win the title, you gotta have this dominating run. No, especially if you're booked as an underdog, you're not supposed to win all the time. I'm not saying you gotta be losing every week like Rey Mysterio in 06, but at the same time, it's like she has to fight underneath. She's short, right? She has to fight underneath, especially with bigger girls, right? Because it makes sense. You got to make it look real, right? You can't have these short girls out here like dominating every match. That's unrealistic, right? But I thought the promo was fine, right? It's set up nicely for the match for SummerSlam. You know, they're slowly starting to give a little bit more of a character development with Liv. So that's cool, and that's all I can ever ask for. You know, I like character development and stories. This is the thing that really I care about when it comes to wrestling than anything else.
Right, and of course, Morgan's making it. She's telling us the story that she is not intimidated by a Ronda Rousey in SummerSlam. Yep. Although I think this is going to be a triple, or even a four-way fatal four women match in SummerSlam. I have a gut feeling. I had, you know, and of course, those that listen to me and hear me, I've been saying for the past few shows, I thought Bayley was going to come out tonight on SmackDown. I got that wrong. You know, that's why I said I'm not an insider. I'm just going by what I see. Bayley's in Orlando. She's been here for almost 2 or 3 weeks and working in the Performance Center. And I thought tonight would have been it's in Orlando, Performance Center from the Amway Arena where they took this event. It's only 5 miles away, and it's just a highway shot from the Performance Center to the arena. I mean, when you get off the arena or the highway, you're right there at the arena from where the performance center is. So it's not even it's like 10 minutes at best, you know, by the time you get to the parking lot. So I thought, you know, Bayley was going to make an appearance. I got that wrong. There's still Monday Night Raw in Tampa, which is 45 to an hour away from the Emily Arena from the Performance Center. Who knows? But I like the fact that I'm thinking it's going to be a triple threat. I think they're or a four-way with the ladies, but we shall see there. One thing I forgot to mention from the McAfee segment, we had Corbin interfere, and he has like these weird red bumps on his hands, like poison ivy-ish type, saying it was monkeypox, but it looked like he had an allergic reaction rash for some reason. But hyping up that match between them two. You know, like you said, Corbin is safe worker in the ring, very unappreciated wrestler. I just wanted to make sure I wanted to bring back that segment about the monkeypox. You know, you got something you want something to say on that before we move on? Go ahead, you have a few seconds here.
No, I'm basically good, man. We can move on to the next segment.
The next segment, a little bit of a comedic, because first and foremost we hear the horn. And we're thinking the new repackaged Viking Raiders are coming out. And all of a sudden they come out and it's the New Day in cosplay. Before we even say anything else, what was your thoughts? I liked it. I thought it was funny.
I mean, it was funny, I guess. But it wasn't ha like belly laughing funny. It was like, oh, okay, that's kind of funny, I guess. You know? I don't know. It was okay, I guess. So
all right, I like the fact when they went to the crowd and they saw the kids laughing and the kids enjoying it. I maybe call me a sucker for that, because remember when I'm going back to me, when I grew up, I was that kid that get the oohs and ahs, you know, when the gimmick type of wrestlers will come out. You know, we'll see, you know, when we had that USA Russia, Nikolai Volkov, you know, going in, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan, or the Iron Sheik and Duggan going at it, and USA, and getting into that. I guess I was a young mark, a kid who was a mark, getting into those kind of gimmicks, who despised the Undertaker with the urn, trying to go after my Hulkamania, you know, or breaking the Ultimate Warrior. I guess I went back as a child to identify and laugh and enjoy the New Day dressing up as the Viking Raiders, making fun out of that gimmick. But not for nothing, I don't want to take away from what Eric and Ivar are. They are a bad, really good tag team. You know, I hate, you know, some maybe the gimmick and the costume with could be a little over the top there, where they'd be like, could be a little corny. But let me face it, MK, the Viking Raiders as a tag team facet in the ring, even though for being two big guys, large than life guys, they could wrestle, dude. Yeah, what's your thoughts on them as a performers?
You know, as a tag team, they're always fun to watch. It's just as a gimmick, they're very boring. You know what I mean? It's like, I can watch a Viking Raiders match, no problem. I just feel like the whole Viking Raiders thing, and maybe it might work with them being heels, so I'll give it a chance. But I don't know, the whole Vikings thing is not really that. I'm not even saying, oh, because it's cartoonish or it seems a bit passé to do these kind of like gimmicks like that. But I'm saying it's like, you know, we'll have to see where it goes with them as heels. Maybe it might work more with them being heels. I don't know. But great tag team to watch. I like seeing them wrestle. Just not really the biggest fan of their gimmick. That's all. Because I always found them to be kind of boring. Once they stop wrestling, it's kind of like, oh, it's the Viking Raiders. Okay, whatever. So it is what it is. Talented dude, though.
I can see that. And I think the Viking Raiders work, I mean, this is an opinion, work in a smaller environment. Like an NXT, they were undefeated I think they only lost one time, I think, to the Creed brothers, and I don't think they lost it. I totally forgot about that one. I think they were undefeated in NXT. They work in an independent circuit in a smaller venue, because when it comes to a big audience, a big roster, they kind of, like you said, kind of get a little lost. Could be a little bit of a stale boringness. They could probably use a mouthpiece. Now, though, what kind of mouthpiece would you bring that there to bring some, you know, to get them over? It's hard because they have a Viking Rough Raider, like a mid-century gimmick. Is hard to fool. A Zeb Coulter, but he's no longer a WWE type. You know, do you think MVP, but just as, you know, he's trying to make money. I don't know. I get what you mean there, but we saw them come in to confront the New Day and trying to give him a third straight week of a beatdown. So in interjects Jinder Mahal and Shanky to join the party to take revenge on that beatdown. A little bit of a twist there. I didn't expect Shanky, especially it looked like Shanky and Jinder were going to be in a breakup facet. You know, he doesn't want Shanky to be dancing. I was a little surprised, and I was like, okay, what are we developing there? What was your thoughts on that one with the interference of Mahal and Shanky?
That's interesting. You know, I don't know if this is one of those things that they're going to turn Jinder Mahal babyface or anything, but I can see where it's like, well, you did attack us before, so we're going to get out and get revenge. So right now the Viking Raiders have the New Day to deal with, but also Jinder and Shanky to deal with. So it in a way, it's just kind of making them seem more of a threat, because it's like, you know, it's just continuing the story, so to speak. So I'm cool with that. You know, giving a little bit more tag team some shine on SmackDown. So I'm cool with that.
Yeah. All right. So it wasn't bad. That whole segment wasn't bad. I just want to sit back, relax, and see what's going on with Jinder Mahal. I'm a big fan of Jinder Mahal, by the way. I am too. Loved him as a champion when they put the title. It was out of nowhere. It was different. It was refreshing. I know, even though it was a transitional for him, but I like that little bit of a curve. I don't want to see Jinder who get buried or just be a jobber, and I just want his matches to be, and even if it's with Shanky, to be something worthwhile, memorable. Even if they come on the short end of the stick, I want them to get like a good heel or face push. You know, even if they come up short, but just make them feel important. I kind of like them. I want to see that with them. We'll see how that develops going forward. We have a backstage promo with Kayla Braxton again. She catches up with Gunther, aka Walter, and he's cutting a promo with Ludwig Kaiser again. And this is something that got me a little worried. I kind of like it, but I'm kind of worried that hopefully WWE doesn't do the turn that we think they're going to do, with Gunther just absolutely chops the living daylights out of Ludwig Kaiser for losing to Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, I don't want this facet to break. They were very great with Imperial in NXT. I think for Gunther to succeed, he needs a Ludwig Kaiser in his corner. You know, I love the promo, the hype that he has. I hope that Kaiser doesn't get upset or enough is enough and turn, and they're going to break that facet up. I hope not. I hope just stick with it. Keep them together. Keep that facet together. It's just my opinion. What's your thoughts on that?
You know what? I found that segment to be pretty interesting. I like the idea of Gunther being like, you know what? I don't tolerate losing. So if you're going to be with me, you better not lose. And if you do, you're going to get chopped like crazy. You know, that's some like manipulative, abusive stuff right there. And that can make like Gunther really hated as a heel. You know, it's like, damn, I know he lost the match, but you didn't got to hurt him like that. Like, come on. You know, I'm like, okay. And if this is the way they're going with, no problem. I don't think they need to split up or anything. Maybe this is something they may do maybe a year from now, where they, you know, Ludwig gets tired of all the abuse and is like, no, I'm going to be my own man, right? And then, you know, all that sort of thing. But, you know, right now, you know, it's an interesting take right now. And with this little mini story you got with Gunther and Ludwig, you know, I think it's cool so far. You know, at least they're much like I said with Liv Morgan, they're testing out. I wouldn't say they're testing out. They're building up the character with Gunther. You know what I mean? They're building him up. You know, obviously they're making him dominant, but they're also building up in terms of like, you know, showing more character traits with the character instead of just being another bland like giant or something. You know, so I like it so far. You know, I like it.
Here's what they're doing with Gunther. By him doing that and being the ring, remember, he's the ring head and all, the ring general. Mm-hmm. And he's trying to show us this mean Austrian, you know, doesn't, like you said, doesn't tolerate losing. It's making the Intercontinental title large, because this larger than life persona of Gunther, who's a real heel, like you said, getting that heel heat for chopping the living crap out of Ludwig, and Ludwig Kaiser selling that with that pain, that face of agony every time he gets chopped. Like he's like, it burns me, it's burning his soul every time he gets that chop from that big Austrian. It's showing relevancy to the Intercontinental title, because now you're like, I want someone to beat the living crap out of this Gunther. He's such a, ooh, what a pain, you know. And that's what you want. You want to create that heat on the Intercontinental title. The same way, hopefully, with Lashley as the USA title. Now he's bigger. Lashley's a bigger than life wrestler. Look at him. Look at stature, muscles, big, you know, grand champion. Now it brings, remember, we were complaining about a couple months ago, the mid-card titles had no relevancy. They weren't even in WrestleMania. Now you take the titles and you put it on these two big monsters in these respective companies. They're big. They're wow. And no disrespect to the former champions in Balor and Ricochet. You know, so now you got something showing us here, and I like it. I just don't want Kaiser in Clash of the at the Clash of at the Castle to go against Gunther. You know, I want, like you said, give me a year. Hey, heck, it took 2 years for MJF and Wardlow to get finally break up. Give me that kind of build up. I could take that from 2 years, a year, long term booking with that. Not right away. I don't want that microwave on that.
Yeah, of course, and also it tells you that, hey, he is the ring general. You got to think of him. He's a general. He doesn't want to see his troops losing. He doesn't want to see his troops out here, you know, lacking. So if they are, they're gonna get punished for it, you know. So again, this is character building, and this is what I like. So let's keep continuing that thing, and you know, let's go from there. I like it.
Agreed. Now to the next segment here, where WWE has a problem. They have a problem, a short-term problem right now, and the WWE is problem solving it as there is an issue, a problem, and I kind of like, whoa, a little bit smart, but there's still a problem. But they're trying to make the problem into a positive, which is the one and only. We have a match. Aaliyah comes out. Aaliyah, I feel so bad for her. She's taking on the WWE's current problem, which is called the Lindsay Evans experiment. Now,
did you say Lindsay Evans, my guy?
Yeah.
Lindsay Evans, damn.
Lacey.
There
Lacey
you go.
Evans.
Lacey,
I said
Lacey.
Lindsay. I'm having a little laryngitis here.
That's Lacey Evans' younger sister.
So it's Lindsay Evans. She comes out again and she lashes out against the WWE Universe. The crowd, she's not over. She is not liked. That gimmick, she doesn't get the cheers or the boos. It's like, go away. I don't know what's the problem. They tried to do the Marine American, you know, fighting for our country. They even tried the poor me story, you know, her backstory. It just, I don't know if it's, I think it's the performer, MK.
Here's my thing with Lacey Evans. I always thought Lacey Evans has a lot of potential to actually become a champion for this company. And I actually still find her to be very talented. She has a personality. She can cut a promo. She's decent in the ring. She has the look. You know, she checks all the boxes. I was talking to someone about this, and they were saying, like, oh, they butchered her as a babyface when she first came back. And I was like, sure, you can say that they butchered her a little bit with the over-the-top, you know, abusive stories that she went through and whatnot, and it got repetitive for those 5 weeks. But I thought, you know, I'm thinking about this. Wrestling fans sometimes don't like baby faces, so even if this would have worked out, she would have gotten booed anyways, like let's say 6-7 months down the road anyways, right? And they would have had to turn her heel because it's like, damn, we don't want to see this. They don't want to see like a person overcoming the odds, unless if you're like a Liv Morgan, you know. But I actually think turning her heel or going with this heel route could actually work, because nobody likes someone who tells them who brags about their accomplishments, who talks about working hard, who talks about, hey, I struggled, but y'all are too lazy. You know, these are good heel traits, and Lacey Evans can pull off a heel character. But now she's not out here looking like Mary Poppins every single week, right? Like before, right? With the, oh, I'm the sassy Southern Belle and whatnot. Now she has the army thing going. She's kind of going with the pseudo-conservative ex-Marine kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, great. This could be, they're doing damage control, but it's, in a way, it's actually turning a negative into a positive. She's getting booed. She's getting the right reaction. So why not roll with it? Nobody likes to see someone talk about how they work hard and they overcame some stuff, you know, and bragging about it. Why not? Let's stick with it. And I think this could be a perfect heel, a good heel for someone, for Liv Morgan to face down the road, right? Or Bianca Belair, you know? Why not? I'm just saying, why not? I think she cut a good promo. Some people are saying it's go away heat. I'm like, you know, look, she's getting heat regardless. People are booing her. Someone wants to see her getting her butt whooped, and that's the right amount of heat that you want to get, right? So she's doing her job, so let's run with it. Let's just be consistent with it. She's being obnoxious. Let's go run with it. You know, you got yourself a potential major heel on your hands, so why not? Let's go with it. Let's run with it.
I'm one of those go away heat. She doesn't got it. Her match when she was in the match when she was in Money in the Bank was, I don't see it. For her to qualify, when she did the qualify match on SmackDown weeks ago, cringeworthy. Go away. She doesn't fit here. I'm not a fan. I think, I respect the fact that she's an in-ring performer. She tries to give it her go. It didn't work the first time as a Southern Belle. This is here. It's not. She falls into the category. She checks the boxes. She could record. Yes, she could get the proper heel heat. She could possibly be at times. She has the look. She does. She's a very beautiful lady. Fit the persona what they look at. But she reminds me of the female version of Jack Swagger. Hager Swagger has that look, that factor, that could wrestle, was a former champion, but that's it. There's a ceiling, there's a plateau, and I think right now with the influx of women talent in WWE and NXT, Lindsay Evans is just another brick in the wall, and that's just my opinion with it. I know you see different. And maybe you could set up and give her a chance to wrestle Liv Morgan. I think that's a good idea if they want, but I don't see long term for what Lindsay Evans working out here in WWE.
The thing is, I wouldn't go far as to say she has go away heat, or she's like basically this version of Jack Swagger. I kind of look at it more as she's basically the Divas division or women's division of Baron Corbin. A lot of people say Baron Corbin has go-away heat. But the thing is, I look at them as the same, where you can put them in any gimmick and they'll still get booed regardless. So it's like, to me, when I think of someone who has go-away heat, for me, I look at someone like Natalya. I just don't want to see her on TV at all, right? She's boring as hell, right? I don't want to see her at all on TV. But with Lacey Evans, I'm like, okay, I want to see her on TV, but I want to see her get her ass kicked too. She has personality. But again, we can agree to disagree on that, so it is what it is, I suppose.
Yeah, I think we could agree to disagree, because I feel different with Natalya, because she's in there to make the talent look great. With Natalya, she could put her talent over it. Yes, she could be chewing tinfoil, or no reputation wise, but when she went down to NXT, she had a hell of 2 great matches with Cora Jade. Made Cora Jade look so phenomenal, working her in the ring, and they had great matches. That's what a Natalya does. Can she elevate talent around her to really look phenomenal? I don't know if Evans could do that. If she's going to be sticking around, she's got to, like Corbin. You mentioned great Natalie Corbin. Corbin makes the talent around him look great. He elevates them. And let's see. Maybe Lacey Evans, I'm going to give her that opportunity. If I might not like what we just finished saying, let me see you help the talent look over. Even if you lose in a losing facet or in a win, if they're going to push you where not to our liking, can you make the opponents that you lose over still? And we shall see. The jury's out. We could agree to disagree. You know what? The best thing for both of us here is time. We're gonna let time dictate.
You gotta give it a chance. We gotta let it play out. I know that's a bad term to say to wrestling fans, and they think, it's like, hey, you're gonna let things play out. Come on, man, this is WWE. No, you gotta let things play out, and that's usually the best course of action to do. Just relax and see where it goes.
Yeah, and they could say they gave an opportunity. So they could say, oh, they weren't given an opportunity. They trumped them. No, let them give her the opportunity, especially now, and maybe after SummerSlam or a couple weeks after SummerSlam, if things aren't going well, you can move away from it, transition away, because remember, NFL football is coming, and now this is the time of year with SummerSlam going forward. You got to start getting us some good storylines, hooking us, because you're going to lose most of your audience heading towards football, and you want to create buzz and excitement to keep retain, because you're even though football's still king, you're going to lose some, but you still want to have that, you know what, I want to check it out, because I remember, it was getting intriguing. So we shall see there, and hopefully, WWE's reputation of captivating audience continues to elevate and captivate us. So speaking about reputation, Drew McIntyre hits the ring, and he's going to take on Sheamus. But this is weird, with a shot at the undisputed WWE Universal Champion and Clash of the Castles on the line. But I thought they already announced that Drew was already in that main event. So it kind of a little bit of, I'm a little bit confused. I don't know about you.
I'm not too confused about that, because he said he's going to go after the title, which that's what a lot of people do. Now this is one of those things where he's gonna make it official. You know what I mean? Okay. So it's like, you know what I mean? You know when people say, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the Royal, I'm gonna go to the Money in the Bank and I'm gonna win it." Well, first you have to qualify first and then go from there. You know what I mean?
So he's building up the chase.
Yeah, it's building up the chase, and so far with I know we're kind of skipping ahead here, but last week we went with Butch. This week we went with Ridge Holland. And they're where they're going with this. They're teasing it where it's going to be Sheamus and Drew at SummerSlam, and that's where the official match happens, and that's where Drew's going to win. And so, that's not a bad way to do it. You don't want to do Sheamus and Drew McIntyre every week on SmackDown for the next 4 or 5 weeks, because that gets repetitive. But the match was what it was. But the one thing I want to talk about, man, Butch is one of the most entertaining things on TV right now. I'm just saying, like, I know I'm a little bit going on a tangent here, but Pete Dunne, Butch, is one of those examples where you can make a name that looks terrible, but if you can play the part well, it's entertaining as hell, right? I find it more entertaining with this, kind of this scrappy character than I ever did when he was just boring old Pete Dunne. I'm just saying, on-site Butch out here want to throw hands? Hilarious to me. But yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
For those, check out Pete Dunne, NXT. If you have the WWE Network, or excuse me, Peacock Network, check out NXT, some of his old matches. This guy could go. First, when I saw this, when I saw Butch, I was one of those like, what the hell is, what's a Butch? What the hell are they calling? So then thank you to Samurai, who's our NXT, you could say guru, who's been watching NXT for such a long time, told me about Pete Dunne. I went and I saw matches. This guy is a good in-ring competitor. I want to see why he is elevated to the main roster. He got it. Like you said, the name might not be so glamorous, but he, as a performer, was gold. I like it. I like Pete Dunne. Like you said, the character. and he is outshining the Brawling Brutes. Holland to me is the weakest link in that group. Sheamus is Sheamus. He's a made man over no matter what. And Holland for that match with McIntyre, he got hit with the Claymore. We all knew that McIntyre was going to win. We saw that we knew there was another bait and switch from this Celtic Warrior. Like you said, is setting up that match for SummerSlam and for that qualification to set up Clash of the Castles. I think Sheamus and McIntyre, and I'm going to go on a limb here, I think it might be the match of the night in SummerSlam. I have a funny feeling there's something about it. It's going to be, whoa. It's going to be one of those kind of matches because these two veterans, they know what they're doing. They are good.
Oh, yeah, they're good. They're great. They're great. They're awesome. They're awesome.
Yes, they are. So we move on here. Before we move on, I just want to talk about Aaliyah because we jumped. Aaliyah, again, not another match. There was reports that they might send her back down to NXT because she's not getting better with the bookers, with the producers, in her in-ring ability. That's why they took her out of the Money in the Bank qualifier. If you remember, they put Tamina in when there was supposed to be Aaliyah and so forth. For Aaliyah, I hope she does go to NXT back down because she'll get more opportunities to get more hands-on in-ring if that's true. But man, I'm kind of worried with Aaliyah.
I don't know, because with Aaliyah, she's been on NXT for like 700 years now, before she came up to the main roster. Because, people forget, like, Aaliyah has been on developmental for like 7 or 8 years. She's been almost as long as Angelo Dawkins was, from the Street Profits, right? So when she got called up sometime late last year, I was like, man, she's been on the main. I remember I went to the first NXT takeover in Toronto, and they were doing, the NXT taping over there, and I saw her wrestle, and she was on those old documentaries. What was it called? The Breaking Ground or something like that on the network at the time. So she was in developmental for a minute, like 6, 7, 8 years. So I don't know if they send her back down to NXT, there's a great chance that she might end up getting released. Because of that. It's like, bro, you've been on NXT for how long, and then we put you up to the main roster, and we're going to put you back down there? There's a great chance that they might let her go. Maybe. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised. Because if the producers and bookers are saying that about her, and you could see. But then again, these are all speculations. So you just got to see where it goes. So because people can just say like, oh, we're speculating about this, and it never happens. So we'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, well, because we'll see him with Aaliyah, but not having her compete, just showing her out there, parading her with no match, it is kind of worrisome now for almost 3 weeks in a row. I don't know if it's like a punishment. No, I wouldn't say it's a punishment. Sorry to cut you off. I wouldn't say it's a punishment. It's just this is more of a story building for Lacey, and she's just a part of it. So I wouldn't go that far to say, oh, they're punishing her. No, I wouldn't go that far. We'll see. We'll move on here for a match. Here we have Madcap Moss versus Theory. Now, before we get to those matches, we saw a couple of promos. We mentioned the Paul Heyman talking to Theory. Theory is becoming the ultimate heat. He's even being a little bit of a pricky character, even to Paul Heyman. I love it. Everyone, Theory, of course, that's what WWE wants. They want everybody to dislike this Theory character so much, and that's the proper heat he's getting. Like, ugh. Go away, but no, he's coming for more. I love everything Theory does. And then we saw before the match, after that promo, we saw Heyman again talking to Madcap Moss and saying he might need a special advocate. Either for Paul throwing his weight here or trying to persuade Madcap to try to have a match if he beats Theory. And what's your thoughts with Paul Heyman? We all know now that he's being a little more involved and creative with all the situation that's happening at WWE behind the stage. I like it. I could give me more Paul Heyman because he is a creative genius along with Triple H. I loved it. What's your thoughts on those promos?
Paul Heyman can make anyone look like a threat You know, even a guy like Theory, he made him look like, man, this guy he's a threat to the tribal chief, you know? So he can basically make anyone look good just by one promo. And I thought the promo segments with Madcap and Theory were pretty good. And I thought those two actually held their own in those dialogue segments. And yeah, I thought it was pretty good. And I know I wasn't there for the Money in the Bank review, so I want to give my quick thoughts on Theory and him winning the briefcase and all. I think Theory winning the briefcase is a great idea. You know, he is doing well with this whole Money in the Bank thing. I know a lot of people are mad about it, and I'm like, great, continue to get mad. That's what you're supposed to do. He's a heel. You're not supposed to like him, right? Exactly. So, you know, it's the same people said the same. Oh, when they don't like a heel, they say it's go away heat. I'm like, bro, half of y'all don't know what go away heat is. You don't know what it is, right? So I'm just saying, like, he's doing his job. You're supposed to hate him, you know, and he's a talented guy in the ring. You people complain about, oh, they don't give guys opportunities, but when they do, you guys complain about, oh, not him. This is why you don't pay attention to wrestling fans sometimes, because they contradict themselves like left, right, and center. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, I suppose. Theory, Money in the Bank, I'm all for that.
Yeah, I'm for it. And also, it seems like WWE or somebody was listening to the program about 2 months ago, you know, because I mentioned this here. I said when Matt Cass had the suspenders, the jokes, the corny jokes and stuff, I said when he says he needs a gimmick change, you know, a gimmick, or, you know, he could go to and I mentioned Samurai mentioned his name, his indie's name. I forgot his indie name. You know, I said, yeah, do you see yourself, and I know Paul Heyman Memphis, you know, like Madcap Moss, I can't see that name highlighting WrestleMania. You know, if he goes to, or just Madcap, and they mentioned it on on SmackDown. I was like, yeah, exactly. Certain names and certain gimmicks with the suspenders you're really gonna make them highlight WrestleMania, and he mentioned that, and I kind of found that funny. It was like a little bit of an homage to our program there, without really them knowing. You know, maybe they do listen, who don't. But I like that fact where Heyman says that. Also, Madcap, I love this gimmick change. You know, some people might not like it, might like the suspenders and the corny jokes, although he still gets that in there from time to time. The match, I really enjoyed this match between these two guys. That's the youth of WWE showing. They both could go in. They could both fight. They could both wrestle. I love the fact that Theory and Madcap, they used the briefcase to get it, you know, of course, a disqualification. You know what? That disqualification was fine, because Madcap Moss doesn't lose heat by getting pinned by Theory. Theory already got pinned, you know, and is pinned, and he's still the briefcase winner, and I loved it. The match, to me, was very, very entertaining, and I even agree with the outcome, believe it or not. What's your thoughts on the match?
I second everything what you just said here. These are two bright young stars of the future, which, again, this is something that people have been very critical of. WWE's been very critical of, is that they don't have a lot of youth on the main roster, and right now they're starting to actually build some youth over the last several months, and Madcap in Theory is one of them, and so I like it. You know, I'm gonna make a bold prediction right now. I believe Madcap Moss is gonna be the one to dethrone Gunther for the Intercontinental title. I can definitely see that. You know, I can definitely see that down the line.
It's funny because I didn't say he was going to dethrone him. I said I would love, when I said you got mid-card champions would mean something. And I said one of the first names I threw was Madcap and Gunther. I didn't see a winner or loser. I would love to see that match between these two. Now you got guys, young guys, who, you know, you put me with a match, I go, yes, please, I would like to see that. You know, I want to see those type of matches, you know. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because we're thinking of like when we haven't been on the stream for a while, and we mentioned, and you know what, I even like that opportunity. Maybe you know, Matt Cass defeating a Gunther for the Intercontinental. I kind of like it. You're preaching to the choir, which I love there, man. And those are young talented. Look, You got them as the young talent, the wrestler from down from NXT. You also got the Street Profits, who we're going to mention for the main event coming up. Young talent getting pushed. You're getting, you're seeing Damian Priest being pushed. You're seeing this young crop of guys and that are being pushed, getting elevated, and while still honoring some of your 20-year veterans like Rey Mysterio, John Cena. Edge, they're still around, but you're starting to see the new Theory starting to show the new wave. You still have Kevin Owens in your back pocket. He's not old, but he's like right there. He's a main guy. You still got Sami Zayn doing wonderful things.
You got, and look at that. Look at the youth that you guys have on the roster now. You mentioned Theory, Madcap Moss. Omos is another one they built for the last year or so, right? Bianca Belair has been the brightest star of this newer generation. Rhea Ripley's another one. Liv Morgan is only like 29 years old and she's the champion, right? So they're actually starting to build some newer talent, right? So I'm just saying, I think sometimes when people tend to make these things and say, oh, they're not pushing or giving new chances to new people, I'm like, I think a lot of y'all, I'm not saying to agree everything about creative. I'm just saying it's like, I think some of y'all are not really paying attention because to the show, you're just looking for ways to complain, even though you actually are pushing new people and giving people. I mean, like, come on, they gave Riddle for a good month or so before.
Another young one.
And like they're pushing some new people. So what's the issue?
It's because here it is, MK. It's because they're not pushing their storyline. The person that's complaining, they want their guys to be booked the way they have it in their mind, and if it's not, that sucked. That's what it is.
And I agree. To be fair, when I hear people say, "Oh, they should push new stars," what it really means is that I want you to push my favorites. They don't care about news. They don't care. I've been saying this thing since 7 or 8 years ago when they were pushing Roman Reigns, and I'm like, "Oh, we don't want Roman Reigns to be the guy." But then in the same breath, be like. Then in the same breath, they say we want to see Dolph Ziggler get another run at the belt, and I'm like, wait a damn minute. I thought you said you want new and fresh faces. Oh, but we want to see Daniel Bryan be the champion again for the millionth time, and I'm like, I no disrespect to those guys, I like them, but it's like, don't contradict yourself. They're out here talking about we want new stars, but when we do, you guys complain, and I'm like, no, just sit down, just sit down, my guy, sit down.
It's the wrestling fan. There's everyone, no matter what. We don't all, and that's what makes it great as a wrestling universe. We may not agree. We see it in different lenses, and of course your liking. Your ring performer. Maybe certain wrestlers doesn't got the look. Like we have a big fan base that don't like Eddie Kingston. And there's a bunch, the hardcores love what Eddie Kingston do, and the same thing here with Lacey Evans, and some like it, some don't. There's so many. Roman Reigns, I remember they couldn't stand Roman Reigns when he was a face. Like, again, Roman Reigns and Cena. Now, last month, everybody was, they loved John Cena. It was phenomenal. Remember, everyone was like, John Cena sucks, go away. And they were singing with passion. And now they can't wait for him to have, one more match, supposedly. Like you said, it's like a pancake. You have to flip it over, and that's how the fans are.
It's so stupid. And I'm just like, bro, it's just wash, rinse, repeat all over again. And I'm like, it is what it is, I suppose.
It's fun. It's fun. I don't get bothered. It doesn't get me all worked up or get my panties in a bunch. It's what the wrestling is. Like you said, it's history repeating itself, and it's fun. It's okay. I understand. I hear with the fans, and I see them, and it just when it gets a little above and beyond, past beyond the mat. That's like, come on, it's wrestling, guys. These guys, at the end of the day, they're going to go and hang out and they're going to drink a couple beers together. Meanwhile, everyone on Twitter is fighting with each other and insulting. Meanwhile, these guys are having a hot dog and a couple beers. So
I'm like, look, I don't take this stuff seriously. I just enjoy it for what it is. It's just that sometimes when I see stupidity, I'm like, all right, y'all need to just sit down and just enjoy it for what it is. Or if not, just don't watch. I don't know. It is what it is. So.
Yeah, that's what I say. Don't watch. If you don't like it, just don't watch it. Go. There's other sports. Have fun. It is what it is. We go to the main event now. This one had me a little bit confused. You had Angelo Dawkins taking on Jimmy Uso. As okay, you say, so what the hell are you confused about? Was it another singles match leading up into this here? I thought we were gonna get the special referee was gonna come out there at that moment before the match started. I thought it was a promo. I didn't thought it was a match. I was a little bit confused with the result, maybe because I was doing a Yankee watch along and I was watching a split screen. I'm going to ask you to interject here and help me out with this here. We saw Zaman Singh come out, join Michael Cole and Pat McAfee on the commentary. What was your thought of the whole situation there?
I don't know, because to be honest with you, much like you, I wasn't really paying attention too much. I had other things to do. But then I'm like, wait a minute, did they announce already correct me if I'm wrong, they already announced who was the special guest referee, and I'm like, wait a minute, I thought maybe it was just me, because I thought it was like the winner of the match chooses the special guest referee. But then again, it's like, oh, you know, I thought that, you know, again, maybe I'm just misremembering, you know, but it's like, and then they said, oh, it's gonna be Jeff Jarrett, and I'm like, okay, I can understand that. Oh, it's in Nashville, Music City, okay, I get it, whatever, no problem. And then it's like, oh, they just had the match, and I'm like, okay, kind of odd, whatever.
And the referee getting knocked, Charles Robinson getting knocked down. It was, you know, the referee bump. You know, it was like, you know, for a main event to close out, it was kind of confusing. You know, it was like, what, you know, what are you doing here? This is not WWE here. You know, this is, you know, it was a little bit confusing there. It was a brawl. The brawl ended the show. The show ended in a brawl. And, you know, it was crazy. You know, but nothing could be made up. It was, you know, it was, I don't know. It was like weird. It felt weird.
You know, I agree. It was weird. That's all I can really say about this main event. So, it was weird. It is what it is.
And I understand why they have a referee, Jarrett as the referee, because last time in Money in the Bank, the referee, you know, Dawkins' shoulder Montez wasn't pinned, his shoulder was up. You know, the referee, maybe that was a mistake that caught on camera and they used that as an angle. That's what I'm thinking. I think that's what happened, but that's a good way of not losing heat on the Profits and, you know, going forward and giving us that match again. And, you know, I like what shows end on a wild brawl, but this one looked like, I don't know. It just didn't sit right with me, NK.
Yeah, I agree. It didn't really sit well with me either.
And I know everyone says, oh, that's why WWE doesn't end their main events. Oh, they don't main event with tag teams. You could main event it. You could, but.
I mean, they do main event tag teams all the time. That's not the issue. It's just we're just talking about this match here. It's just I don't know. It's not. It's whatever, I guess.
I would have if I knew this was gonna happen, I would have preferred that switch spots with the Theory, because I think Theory ending that would have been even greater, because you know Theory is trolling everyone with that Money in the Bank. You saw him come out to Brock's promo. You saw him come out last week to Roman Reigns' promo, like trolling them that he's lurking around. So better be careful. You know, I think that would have been a better way of closing out SmackDown last night. But all in all, it was okay. It was okay. It wasn't the greatest. That's gonna I need to rewatch SmackDown again. It wasn't, you know, it didn't give me the vibe when Raquel Rodriguez took on Ronda Rousey the first time. I watched that again, and that to me, that whole SmackDown was memorable. It gravitate me in there. The Riddle Roman Reigns SmackDown, that called me to watch that. You know, I wanted to see that. This one, I really don't want to rewatch it. There was nothing there to rewatch. Maybe the Theory match, and that's it. And I'm not saying it was a bad show, but it was okay. It was what it was.
Yeah, didn't really see. It had one or two noteworthy things, but other than that, it was kind of just your typical SmackDown that we've seen over the last 8 months. Honestly, you know, that's just how I think about it. It's just whatever.
Yeah, it was. And I thought it was going to be one of these SmackDowns in Orlando, Florida. Since it's in Orlando, Florida, like I mentioned, it's only 5 miles away, the Performance Center, and not even that far from the arena, Amway Arena. And I thought, you know what, we're gonna get some. Like I said, I got it wrong. Those that follow me from the Heal the Ring podcast, our page, our Facebook page, I said Bayley was gonna be there. Bayley has been in Orlando, Florida for a while now in the Performance Center, back and forth. I thought Bayley was gonna be interject. I thought when Lacey Evans, Lacey, again I call her Lindsay, Lacey Evans, didn't want to wrestle, and she was like walking back slowly and I thought that's when we were gonna get a Bayley come in and just wallop her and push her in and have Aaliyah get a pin or a quick match. I thought, this is a perfect time for Bayley to interject here and say, hi, I'm Bayley, I'm back. I thought that would have been a perfect moment. I thought we were gonna get some, maybe a tease for some NXT call-ups, or just coming in and just doing some damage, and even if they don't come back to them, or they don't get called up for the main roster, just them interfering and say, or even an NXT match, they would have given us an NXT match, would have been great too. This is what happens on Tuesday nights, NXT Live, and you're promoting NXT on Fox, where you got a lot of eyeballs around the world to the NXT product. I thought they could have given us something there, but I was surprised with that. It was like, let's get this taping, let's get this to Orlando, Florida, and let's get Saturday night off, because Monday we're going to go to Tampa. Hopefully Tampa and Amelia Arena brings it, because SmackDown, I thought, for being in you could say WWE new performance and headquarters, wasn't so great. I know we all know in Connecticut is their big headquarters, but Orlando is their second biggest corporate headquarters, and I thought they were gonna give us something to talk about, and that's where I'm a little disappointed. I expected more, because given the fact that Orlando backs them up with the Performance Center and going to NXT, and that crowd is rowdy, and I'm part of that universe. And I thought they were going to give us something on SmackDown. I'm a little disappointed with that there. But all in all, we'll see. We'll go on. Let me ask you, MK, before we get going, what was your thoughts on any news or notes? That's what I mean.
Not anything newsworthy that I can think of at the moment. No, not really. Nothing I can really talk about right now.
All right. So, MK, I want to thank you for joining me on the SmackDown portion of the program. I'm about to break down AEW Rampage last night, second night of Fyter Fest. Thank you for joining me here. We appreciate you coming on, always being a part of our panelists. You have a great afternoon, and we'll talk to you next time you want. We'll break down these matches, the WWE, and once again, thank you for coming aboard.
All right. Yeah, I appreciate you letting me on, man. Thank you. And have a good weekend. Stay safe.
All right. Safe. That's MK, guys. He has joined us, and he always part of the Heal the Ring podcast, and he joined me on the SmackDown watch the review. We go now to AEW Fyter Fest Night 2. My reactions. Here we go. This is the second night of Fyter Fest. It was recorded. And AEW put on some big events here. You had Ring of Honor heavyweight champion Jonathan Gresham taking on Lee Moriarty. You also saw in action Private Party. We haven't seen them in a while, taking on the Lucha Brothers. We saw the Renegade Twins. Yes, they are still on that roster, and they are going to take on Chris Statlander and Athena. We also got the House of Black was part of this situation of the event, because we all know that my man Adam the Diff Man and the Heel love their John Silver taking on Alex, and with Alec Reynolds of the Dark Order. They were taking on House of Black. So I can't wait to break that there. Let's go right into the House of Black versus Dark Order match. And it kicks off Silver, Reynolds versus Malachi Black and Brody King. They kicked off the show as usual. All four men get in the ring, and when the show starts, they get into quick action. We didn't even see an introduction. They went around to the air, and it was just in the ring action. Reynolds and Black had a nice exchange to get the bout started, but King and Silver was were eventually tagged in and completely changed the pace of the match. The battle of the two powerhouses. I love the fact that Little John Silver comes in and he wants to be a strong. My God, he's only like 5'4" in there, and he is a comedic. He is a pisser. I love John Silver. He's just got a place. He just got a place in the Jedi's heart. You know, the poor little guy there, when we saw him going up on the ropes in Long Island and he couldn't get up. You know, I say we were joking around with Adam that he needs a harness to get on the, those dangerous situation on the second ropes. He could really get hurt, little guy. So, but it was funny. It was good. There was about 1 or 2 moments in the match that clearly didn't go as planned. There was botches. There was botches. And it's never anything big, just minor botches. But when you're AEW, who only wrestles once a week, don't do a lot of house shows, and it shows that you guys are not practicing your craft. What are you doing the rest of the 6 days of the week? There shouldn't be that many minor botches. You only wrestle once a week. We're asking you to give your 100%, your best. They shouldn't really be minor, and it shouldn't be really maybe one botch. But you see consistent, the same wrestlers, clunkiness and botching. But all in all, I got entertained. And it's like the fact, well, so why are you complaining about botches and you're saying it was entertained? Because you shouldn't be botching it, though. But it is what it is there. The match ended with Black and King scoring the win. There was an energetic way to start the show, but I always say it in AEW, no matter what, you put 2 turds in the toilet in the middle of the ring, the marks go nuts, they go crazy. They could say this is awesome, but all in all, the competitors did. I always say I got a special place for John Silver. It was good. It's nice to see Dark Order getting some TV time more. We saw Anna Jade got some TV time. We see tonight. Well, let's see where it goes here. And Dark Order got the win since the group have given its promo and isn't going anywhere. So we know that they're not going nowhere. We know the Dark Order is not going anywhere. They've been an original with AEW, and I'm glad that they're getting some time. Of course, I love the square up between King and Silver. I mentioned that there. So we'll see where that goes. Now, the next match it's a Ring of Honor match. Jonathan Grissom versus Liv Morgan. Remember, next Saturday is their pay-per-view, Death by Dishonor, Ring of Honor. I can't wait to watch it. Believe it or not, I wasn't a big ROH fan, but I kind of want to see this. This Jonathan Grissom heel turn has got me invested, especially when I'm going to come out. What happens in this match, the title match here. What's the second bout of the match? So, okay, surprise there. After we saw Grisham heel turn, joining Tony Blanchard's company. It comes out with Tony Blanchard, and these guys, they're known for technical wrestling. You're going to get a technical wrestling match between these two, and of course, Grisham comes up with that octopus mask, with the tentacles, a really persona. To me, he is like our version of this generation version of Taz. Taz with the towel over his head, coming down, looking quiet, coming in, look like he's gonna kick your rear end. Grisham with the big flag, with the mask, looks like he's gonna come in there to do some damage. And I really, really, really enjoy watching the Ring of Honor champion there. Salute. We got, I think it's Alex Coquito, because on the stream it doesn't tell me who is the name, so let me make sure I see it. Just tells me Facebook user, but salute to who's watching us here. I'll get your name in a minute to shout you out. As a matter of fact, I'm going to highlight it so you can see what I'm saying. And that's how it comes out, so I do not know why it does that. But I want to thank you for joining here. And the Ring of Honor match, both of these competitors are really good in-ring performers. That you're going to get a wrestling match. You see some good. Grisham has the power, allows him to control the grappling. Both men have the similar attributes and the same skills. I thought it was a fun match. I think he's a fun match. I cannot knock it. This was a good, and unfortunately, it never came to an outcome. Was in question though. Jonathan Grissom wins the match, and we're left with, okay, I'm invested. He wins the title. He continues holding on to the title as I'm looking for the proper name to say thank you for joining us on commentary. Let's see. Jerome in the building. So there's Jerome. Salute, Jerome. So Jerome, salute there. So thank you for joining us. And he is in the Philippines, and it's 12:30 in the night, my friend. Gotta get some sleep because the Yankee game is coming on later on. So thank you for joining me, though, Jerome. I appreciate it. And I want to see this because after this match here, we get Cesaro interfering here. And now it's going to set up that Cesaro is going to take on Gresham for the title next week. All right. So we're seeing Cesaro jumping into the Ring of Honor storyline. I kind of like it because let's face it, I don't think Cesaro is going to take this title away from. Of course, one, he's part of the Black Blue Combat Club with the interim champion, and I don't think they were going to do that angle. I kind of liked it. I liked it. So Moriarty gives Grissom an angry handshake before taking him down, and that's the best way that I could say this. You got Matt Sandel, who started the group. We saw, I guess it was a backstage promo we saw later on, Sandel, we saw Stokely come in, try to talk about what was going on, call him, and it looks like he was trying to poach him, and Matt Sandel said no, broke the card, and we'll see. You're not signing with Stokely. Get away from Lee Moriarty. We'll see what that goes there. Let's see what the next match here. I just want to go over real quick. I have some notes. I did watch it. Just have some notes there. You have Statlander and Athena taking on the Renegade Twins. Now this match here, the introduction. Of course, Chris Statlander has so much pop going, especially in Blood and Guts. Going down, we all wanted her to go over Ruby Soho. The crowd, the Salute Maria in the building, and I hope they're not losing heat with Statlander because you brought in Athena to tag them, and you're taking away from that pop that Statlander was drawing with now Athena, and they get this tag match with the Renegade Twins, and it's good to. Like I said, I'm glad to see the Renegade Twins wrestle. I think they have a talented tag team in the Renegade Twins. I think they could go. I know they had, their win-loss records isn't so to rag home about, but in this case, it wasn't about the Renegade Twins. It was about showing the dominance of this new friendship, which who knows what's going to happen later down the road. They're together. They take on and they squash the Renegade Twins. It was cool. Especially when you have Charlotte and Robin, you couldn't tell them apart. They look exactly the same with their hair up. Usually they do something distinctive that you could tell which one of the twins is which. But you saw this, it was a squash match. It was a quick match here. Athena, Statlander, they look dominant. That's what you want with these two ladies. They were so dominant, and they get the victory. But all in all, at the end, you get an interjection from the baddie section. You saw Layla come in, get on the ring apron, and she got beat to a beat down. Both ladies brought her in there, beat them down, of course, and then the baddies section comes out. You got Kira Hogan and Jade comes down to the ring to attack the winners. They totally squash Athena and Chris, in the ring. They beat them up. I was more like, what are we building up here? Is this going to be a tag team? Are we protecting Jade Cargill and we're teaming her up with Kira Hogan, where you're going to have these two, Statlander and Athena, now go after them as a tag team whole? So where's the importance of the title for Jade Cargill to defend? Is it going to be Athena? Is it going to be Chris Statlander? I can see AEW making the Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez split here between Athena and Statlander, and because one is going to be jealous of the other for getting that title shot, and that's what's going to help Jade Cargill beat maybe possibly Athena. Maybe Chris Statlander gets set and turns on her and feeds her in a referee distraction for Cargill to win. It looks like that long-term booking. It looks like they're sending that vibe. Let's see. We'll see what happens there. One thing, Stokely Hathaway is always good on the mic. He always delivers a good promo. And it's, we'll see what they're, not much to say there. Not much to say there. The match was a squash match. It was quick. It was to the point. It is what it was, and that's how it was. Then we saw a promo with the Gun Club along with Big Papa Ass in the ring, and they were going to explain themselves of the split where they claim. Acclaim comes out, doesn't want to hear anything about it. Even Pop, it looked like Billy Gunn was going to try to bring some peace and put together the facet together, and he got super kicked right in the mouth. We saw that facet, that collaboration is over. They're not going to be together. They look like they're going to go at it. We all wanted to see what's going to happen, and we'll see when they schedule a match with them. Personally, they broke out a good fast, and I thought, it's kind of weird to see men do the scissor action to one another, out of there. But it was getting over with the fans, but they broke it off. I could see why, and we're gonna see. Let's see if the gun boys sink or swim here and I wouldn't be surprised if the father, Billy Gunn, just turns on their sons there. It'd be interesting to see there, but we'll see how that goes there. To me, the main event of the night was a really good one. Dynamite Rampage got it right. They put on a real good show. Private Party along with El Drito Andrade taking on the Lucha Brothers. Now, anytime you have the Lucha Brothers, one of the most underrated tag teams in AEW or in professional wrestling. When you put Pinto Oscura and Rey Fénix together, dude, those guys bring it. They are so entertaining. They're so great. I want to see more of them. I want to see more of the Lucha Brothers together as a tag team. I couldn't care too much for Rey Fénix. Rey Fénix does wrestle really good solo, and they both do. They both bring it on. But there's something about them as a tag team that just takes them to another level. There's an aura as the Lucha Brothers as a tag team have than an individual. And I'm saying again, no disrespect to neither one, because I think Pinto Oscura brings it. I think he gets the crowd going with the Cero Miedo. I think Rey Fénix has we saw him in the tournament. We wanted him to win that the Owen Hart tournament, at least one round. He didn't. But they bring it. They bring it night in, night out. It was a fast-paced match. It's good to see also Private Party, one of the originals from AEW from day one, getting some time, at least even if it's on Rampage, got some time out there. It was all in all good to see them there. We saw a lot of high-flying moves. Of course, why don't you see a lot of aerial assault offense from both sides? Again, it was a fast-kept pace match from the beginning to the end. Lucha Brothers were to score a victory on Private Party, but Private Party has some false finishes that were like, to be honest with you, I thought it was 50-50 here when I saw this match. I said I could see where Lucha Brothers might fall short, because I thought that with El Ido and Andrade out there La Facción Gobernable out there, possibility of Rush interfering, which we did see him interfere, that they were going to get either Penta Oscura or Rey Fénix distracted enough or put a move where Private Party gets a much needed victory. It was, to me, it could have went either way with me. But all in all, despite the outcome of the winner of the loss here, the match was really good. The interference part of Rush was a little bit clunky. I thought it was interfering. It was clunky because if he's interfered and you still had Penta kick out, was it necessary? That's just a little bit nitpick. But man, I just can't. Like I said, I'm a fan of the Lucha Brothers. I want to see more of the Lucha Brothers. I would have loved the Lucha Brothers to have gotten AEW Gold tag team titles instead of Keith Lee and Swerve. They just got here, and they've been in whatever you ask Penta Oscura to do. He's there. He has lost match. He put guys over. Rey Fénix got people over in that tournament. You should have rewarded them with the AEW tag team titles if you were going to take it off the Bucks. That's where guys like MJF's promo and cynicals out there, the fans say, you see, MJF's promo speaks to my heart because you see that there with AEW. You should have, could have, should have, and would have. But it is what it is. We move on. You know, they're not gonna do it. So don't feel upset if a team like the Lucha Brothers, when their contract is up, goes back to AAA wrestling to Mexico, or they move on to Impact Wrestling. Even though Impact and AEW have a good, kind of looks like they have a good working relationship back and forth, but don't want to come back to the AEW universe to wrestle, or wants a big amount of chunk of money or short term or they're frustrated because of situations like this. I don't know. Are they WWE bound? I don't think so. I don't know if WWE will be interested in the Lucha Brothers. I would like to see them. It'll be hard, with them there. Although you're going to tell me Lucha Brothers taking, in the WWE, they'll be one of the great tag teams there with that gimmick, with the mask. You could even bring, you could even make a whole facet, Legado Fantasma, with the Lucha Brothers in there, you or even them going at it. You could do Lotharios, make them look more serious last week, and Monday, when they took on Jimmy and Jay for the tag team titles. They looked, even though it was a squash match, but they looked so much more better, in ring. I don't know. I don't see the Lucha Brothers in WWE. They more to me seems, in the indie, AAA, AEW, but man, I would have loved them to got in the gold there. So all in all, Rampage was really okay. Was good, because the Lucha Brothers taking on Private Party was really good. Yes, it was. The Statlander Athena, wasn't a big fan of the whole thing. It was, I'm glad that the ladies got their shine on there again, but why does it have to be before the main event? Please stop that. Open up the match or make this ladies a main event. Don't do this the before, because you lose kind of like ugh. Even though you say, but you just finished saying it was ugh. But maybe when the time slot, you get us a little more invested. I wish, because not for nothing, all the ladies in the ring, all the ladies that competed, they were beautiful. All of them, they're beautiful on the eyesight. Put them in the starting Rampage, or close it. Not that hour. We're like, ugh, get it over with. I wish they would change that there. That's just my nitpick. The Ring of Honor match was phenomenal with Grissom and Lee Moriarty. I'm not a big fan of Lee Moriarty. I'm not. I'm like, the name just doesn't captivate me. Like, Lee Moriarty, Dante Martin, like, ugh. I see the name, and they are good wrestlers. The thing is, they are good, but when I hear their name, it's just something in my brain that goes, ugh. I don't know why, guys. I don't know why, and I hate to say like that, because they are good wrestlers. They intrigue me as performers, but just the name. And maybe I'm a sucker for stupid names like Theory, or just that one WWE. Maybe I'm too WWE-ish. Watching it so long, when I hear the names, I just tend to go ugh for some. I don't know. It's just me. This is just a disorder for the Jedi. It's just me picking. Of course, the House of Black, Dark Order. Different. It was a comedic, okay match. Whenever there's a John Silver, I'm a mark. I'm a sucker. I want to see John Silver, because he's comedic. He's like the not the same as R-Truth, but an R-Truth type of wrestler that you see there with he with the stare down, and of course Brody Lee. Let me tell you about Brody King. Rest in peace, Brody Lee. Brody King. This dude is something. I really like this guy. He is a big badass. He looks like he's a big, larger than life. I'm glad he's with Malachi. Although certain people think Malachi is like chewing tinfoil. Certain people love Malachi. I'm in the middle. But Brody King, boy, they have a star there. I think they have a star in AEW with Brody King. I can't wait for this time next year where he's going to be. I love that. We saw that Darby Allin after the match attacked him. I forgot to mention that. I want to bring that as I close up here. And, we're setting up Darby Allin, Brody King. With Sting came out and got into Malachi's face. I don't know if they're going to make it a tag team. Because, maybe that's a way of Darby Allin not getting squashed. You got Sting with him. I just like Brody King. I just like Brody King, and watch out. Could he be a threat? Maybe in a year from now to Warlord. I'm not saying he's going to get the Warlord heat, but you telling me later, year, not now, because Warlord's on fire. Brody King taking on Warlord, I would love to see that. Those two big men go at it. Year and about, give it some time. Give it some time to marinate, to build up. If Warlord's still with AEW or Brody King, I don't know what their contracts are, or if they're still around. But we never know. Things can happen. I really would like to see that personally. Me personally in the fantasy booking, and that match was good. I'm gonna this week again in a slight edge. I'm gonna give it to AEW Rampage over SmackDown. Because although SmackDown showed us a women's champion, Liv Morgan, I think her, even though it was a little clunky at the end, I thought it was better than what we saw from Athena and Statlander and against the Renegade Twins. You got Natalya versus, not to compare one on apples to apples, oranges to oranges. They're so separate, but I liked that there. I really loved. I don't think the Lucha Brothers Private Party, although we knew it was a squash, it was really great. I think I'm gonna give it a little bit more of an edge over the Theory match versus Madcap because of disqualification. I know people hate that, but they both of them kept their heat. You still kept Theory going high, and of course Madcap, but Lucha Brothers just entertains. It's just an entertainment level value. The Grissom Lyra Marinardi match with Cesaro bringing board in there, I kind of rolled my eyes when I saw Cesaro. I said, well, it makes sense. So that's why I'm giving the gift just by a little bit, a hair of a chinny chin chin, just to Rampage. I thought, just a little bit more. Although the Viking Raiders and New Day comedy bit was, with them making fun and interjecting was a little much better. But I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a because I expected more from Orlando SmackDown, and that's maybe because it's a personal choice. But it is what it is. This will be the review here for Rampage and SmackDown. I hope you guys tune in, share, like, comment. I'm not seeing it. My lenses might not be the same as yours. Let me know what you thought. I did like AEW there a little more tonight, and I am a big WWE guy. So WWE wasn't bad. It wasn't boring. I just expected more from Orlando, Florida. That's just my thought at the name in a nutshell. So we will have that. That will conclude this review of the wrestling show here, the Heel of the Ring podcast. Please like and share if you're not down with us. We got 2 words for you guys. Just subscribe. Yes, we will see next week on SmackDown. We will have a beach collection from Maximum Male Model with Maxine Dupree. So we're having a first female facet, the first female in the Maximum Male Model. Who could it be? A lot of speculation. I'm not gonna speculate because I don't know who it is gonna be. It could be Matt Condova's wife coming back to the WWE, because Matt Condova, aka Zack Ryder, that was teasing returning back to the WWE. He wouldn't mind. Also, depending on right now, AEW and NWA was having their event, and I think she was having a grudge match with Mickey Jade. I don't know what's gonna happen after that. So we'll see. Anything can happen. Just tune in to us. We will have coming up the Monday Night Raw review. If any news or notes or anything happens with the WWE, we'll make an emergency Heel of the Ring podcast. But you can find us anywhere on all the audio platforms. Not just myself. I also come out with. And you saw NK here. You saw the Samurai. We also have Adam the Diffman, Heel, and of course we get others to join us. Mitch. We have special guests from time to time. And don't forget to check out our friends, the one and only Alex Coquito. Check it out on Twitch. Here, he's one of the featured podcasts here on the community board on the YouTube channel. Just follow it. It's Alex Coquito, and he's there. Go follow him. He is a good friend of ours, a good friend of the program. You saw him on the watch along in WrestleMania with us, and of course he covers wrestling as well. A good fellow friend of ours. The Midwest Mark podcast as well. That's where Coquito was first from, but now he's on his own, doing strong, getting over. And also our friends at the Midwest Mark, and also the Wrestling Experience with our friend Earl Cole, who comes here time to time. He's on vacation right now, but he'll be back. I'll be joining him on his program on the next week on the 23rd, if I'm not mistaken, 21st. We'll be on there, and we'll definitely, if you guys want to be a panelist and want to bring in here and wants to bring in and join us, just reach out in the comment section, follow us wherever the video description, the LinkedIn is there. You could email me, you could follow us on the Facebook page, the Heal the Ring group page, hey Jedi, instant message me, whatever way you can find me, smoke signal, pigeon, whatever the case is. Hey, I want to be on a panelist because I want you to just produce and I want to talk about wrestling. Come on out. I give everyone an opportunity. I give everyone a chance to come on in. Bring it. You have a chance here to get over. Come and get over. I don't mind being Vince McMahon or Tony Khan behind stage and booking and producing. I don't mind that either. So come on down here. I'm also looking for an MLW who watches it. I just don't have the time. I want to get into it. NWA. I'm gonna watch it now soon. As soon as we get off the stream, and all the other Ring of Honor, you name it. New Japan. Adam does New Japan, but he needs a co-host to help him with that. Because the other guys don't watch. Certain guys watch certain wrestlings, and that's okay with it. I don't want to overwork everyone with all the wrestling knowledge, but I want to thank you guys though. Thank you for joining me. Remember, get over life. Pin your situation, and always get the victory, guys. So get over. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Awesome! You people bought a ticket to see me, so shut up.
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen,
My thoughts
just in
get
case
so
you
bad,
live under a rock,
I might
you
grab
are
a
looking
bat. I
at the
don't know. My
youngest
wrath, my
and
blood
best
boils over
rising
like.
star in
Oh God, here
professional
goes. I
wrestling
lost all
today.
feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you